we have two very important guests who are not entirely new to our viewers, talking about Mr. Ifeshola Olukami, an expert in blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies. Good morning, Mr. Ifeshola, and welcome to the program.
Good morning. Thank you very much. Good to be here.
Thank you for joining us. And of course, I also have Prince Ozioma Wankwo, aka Digital Chief, a thought leader on the world of decentralized finance, a blockchain instructor, and an expert in the field, of course. Good morning, Digital Chief, and welcome to the program.
Good morning, and I'm happy to be here once again. Good morning to the audience.
Thank you for joining us.
Good morning to everyone.
Thank you. So before we get into the topic of today's discussion, before we get into the nitty-gritty of today's topic, let's quickly review last week's program and see what we covered. Last week, we talked about the relevance of decentralized finance in the global economy. Now, for those of us who may have missed that edition of DDM Business, we covered topics such as decentralized autonomous organizations, talking about DAOs, the differences between traditional finance and DeFi, and the potential risks associated with this rapidly growing industry. To help summarize what we discussed last week, I'd like to start by asking Digital Chief to give us a recap of what we covered last week. Digital Chief.
Okay. Decentralized finance as it regards to the global economy has to do with inclusivity, making sure that everyone takes advantage of the blockchain in terms of making sure that financial inclusivity is paramount compared to centralized finance, where only a few individuals and the head of nations control the monetary system of the financial world. But with decentralized finance, everybody can play a role. Everybody can come in. The people can get access to funding with ease without them being subjected to the bottleneck of having to get collateral that they don't have before they access financial empowerment and all of that. So decentralized finance, as technology advances, is going to take the centerpiece of the financial economy.
Thank you very much, Digital Chief. That was a great recap of the conversation we had last week on decentralized finance and its growing importance. Today, we are shifting our focus to blockchain, of course, and its broader impacts on the economy, of course, talking about blockchain and what it means for today's economy. Now, blockchain, of course, like we've discussed in previous week, is the heart of decentralized finance. And every now and then a project emerges and it makes waves. People talk about it. But today we want to know the impact of some of these blockchain projects. And that is why let me start with you, Mr. Ifeshola Olukami. Let's kick things off by talking about one of the more renowned crypto projects in recent years. From your perspective, Mr. Ifeshola, which blockchain project stands out right now and why is it considered so impactful? Which blockchain project should investors be looking at right now? And why do you think investors should be looking at it? Why is it so impactful?
Okay. Please, I'd like to understand better. When you talk about blockchain project, are you talking about the blockchain itself or project developed on blockchains?
Projects. I'm talking about the projects, a project developed on blockchain.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
First and foremost, there is time and season for everything. There are some blockchains, depending on the problem they've come to solve, that are always relevant in every season. So I'm talking about Bitcoin blockchain, I'm talking about Ethereum blockchains. We usually have massive projects being deployed on those blockchains.
But in some seasons, you have some blockchains like the Binance Smart Chain. In the last bull run, most of the tokens that performed excellently well were deployed on Binance blockchain, with a few of them on Ethereum blockchain. Building up to this bull run season, the blockchain that has been massively, that has gained so much attention is the Solana blockchain. So if anyone is going to look for a massive projects to do well, this blockchain, this bull run, it is good to take a good look at the Solana blockchain and the Ethereum blockchain. So with regards to naming one particular project that investors should look out for, I would like to talk about Ryoshi Dogkeep, which is deployed on the Solana blockchain. And in previous conferences that we talked about the signs to look out for in picking which project is good. First and foremost, when you're looking at a project, you try to project the profitability of the project. What do you stand to gain from it? And when you consider the risk to reward ratio, that's when you decide whether it is worth it or not. So if I, as an investor, if I'm looking for a project to make profit from, of course, I won't be looking at Bitcoin, most especially on the short term. But if I'm looking for a project that will, keep the value of my money, I think Bitcoin is a very good store of value. But talking about Ryoshi Dogship, it's a project with massive potential, considering the fact that the market cap is still very much low, and one can easily make a profit. And of course, the team behind it, when you see a community-driven project, most especially when the community are very efficient and aggressive in their marketing, those projects usually have very good performance and last the test of time. So Ryoshi Dogship, like I've seen, has a good narrative. It's a meme coin. And, meme coins are driven by narratives. So Ryoshi Dogship has a good narrative. When you look at the fundamentals as well too, one thing I like about it is, first and foremost, it is announced. The dev cannot manipulate things there anymore. Then secondly, when you look at the total supply and the circulating supply, they are the same, which means that tokens cannot be, added into the supply to the market anymore. And all these things, might have negative impact on the price action of this particular token. But since they are the same, that's a very good news on it. And, talking about the name in which the name of the developer in which the coin is built, which is Ryoshi. Ryoshi is still a reigning name, not just in the last bull run, but even in the present bull run, because people are looking for tokens with that narrative of Ryoshi. Another narrative people are looking up to is, current events like CZ, the former CEO of Binance, who is going to be released from prison later this month. Then the event with the CEO of Telegram that was also arrested. So all these things are events that drive the price action of meme coins. And Ryoshi is one of them. Dog is another narrative. So this token, combining those two narratives of a very good developer plus Dog, which is actually a narrative reigning in the market right now, I believe it's a good investment opportunity for people to take advantage upon. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Ifeshola. Of course, you pointed to Ryoshi Dogship as a project that people should look out for. Okay, I'll come back to you quickly, but let me quickly move over to Digital Chief. Digital Chief, do you agree with him?
Yeah, I agree.
Can you hear me?
Based on the functionalities he mentioned, because you don't just agree for face value, but you look at the functionalities he mentioned, like the minting factor, the low cap, and other parameters he mentioned that makes it look very profitable. So based on those information, I agree.
What's this?
I believe you can hear me. I guess your network. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you go ahead, sir.
Okay, you asked if I agreed with him. I said based on the functionalities
that
he mentioned about Ryoshi Dogship, I agree with him totally. That is a profitable project anybody can invest in.
Okay, so he mentioned some key functionalities. Mr. Feshola mentioned some key features of this project. From your perspective, what are the core features of the Ryoshi Dogship that makes it a key project for any investor to look at or to try to invest their money in right now? I want to hear from your perspective, why do you think anyone should invest in the Ryoshi Dogship?
Okay, beautiful. The very first thing anybody should look out for in any token is renouncement of the contract. Because when a blockchain project, a crypto token is, when the contract is renounced, it means the wallet address of the creator has been removed from the contract such that the creator or the programmer will not have access to alter the functionalities of the project. So one of the best features anybody should look out for in projects to invest in is the fact that the contract is renounced. In Ryoshi Dogship, the first thing I discovered was the fact that the contract is renounced. I did a run on the contract source code and I confirmed it. Now, what it means is that every creator or every programmer have a wallet with which they access the contract source code. But at the end of before it is deployed, they remove the contract, so there won't be any access, meaning the contract, the project now belongs to the community and the creator doesn't have access to it anymore if they had intention of altering any of the functionalities. So that's number one. Number two, you need to be sure that liquidity is locked and bound, which is evident in the Ryoshi Dogship project. The liquidity is bound and locked, and it has a low cap, less than 10,000 market cap, which is early, and the price is so cheap at this time. By the time the project have up to 1 million market cap, early investors will have made about 1,000x return on investment. So number one is the fact that it is renounced. Number two, liquidity locked. Number three, liquidity bond, and other features. I guess with these three, these are the three features that made Bitcoin what it is today, because the creator of the first digital asset, which is Bitcoin, renounced the ownership. Until today, no one can actually beat his chest and say this is the creator of Bitcoin. What we hear is it was invented by one Satoshi Nakamoto. Whether it's a group of persons or an individual, nobody knows. So that's the feature of Bitcoin that made it number one, and it still maintains that top position in the crypto space. Apart from Bitcoin and a few other currencies that are renounced, every other cryptocurrency, you will agree with me, or those who understand blockchain will agree that almost all the cryptocurrencies can be traced to the person that created them. But Bitcoin, the confusion is still there who created it. And I guess was done on purpose so that it will be appealing to the public. Because if an individual have access to the contract source code, they can go and alter the functionalities, and it will no longer be appealing to the public. So those are the features that make Ryoshi Dogship very profitable and reliable.
All right. Thank you very much, Digital Chief, for that wonderful breakdown, of course. Over to you now, Mr. Ifeshola. Still on the Ryoshi Dogship, what are the key innovations of this project? Of course, every project has to be unique in its own way. What are the key innovations of the Ryoshi Dogship compared to others? And how is this particular project driving the industry forward?
Okay. Thank you very much for that question. This project is actually a meme coin, like I said, a unique one for that matter. And in the sense that it is following the current reigning narrative, like I said earlier. Then it has one unique feature which we have not yet mentioned. When fundamental research is being done, fundamental analysis is being done on a particular project, you have to check what is happening on chain as well too, with regards to the transactions being carried out and the orders. We were able to actually trace the wallet of one of a couple of whales who had actually invested in that token. These whales, when they invest, it shows that they have a certain level of interest on that token. And it's only a matter of time when everything is right, when the market, settles properly, that many other whales will come into the project. So I would like to call this, this team of whales like a cabal, sort of, and that is where one very important thing is also concerned, which is insider information. So no matter how the fundamentals look or the technicals look, even if it is good, insider information sometimes helps in making things right. So once you have spotted one or two whales, then you can be sure that other whales are also aware of this project and only waiting for the right time to up in and make the project great. Then, despite the fact that the market cap is still low right now, there is even distribution of tokens. You see some other projects, somebody is holding 10%, as much as 10%, or even more of that project. So the moment that person who is holding a lion's share, the moment he decides to sell all his holdings, then the market is going to have a drastic fall in price. And that means many people will immediately run into loss. But when you look at these projects, when you take a launch-in analysis, you discover that nobody is having above 5% of the total supply. Nobody is having above 5% of the total supply. And, that in itself is giving investors confidence to hold on to what they have, knowing fully well that one or two, just a few groups of people will not determine market directions. And, when you look at the history of the creation of cryptocurrency on itself, going by the Bitcoin white paper, the intention of Sakamoto is to create a decentralized system in which, everybody have a right, everybody have a say, and there's no major control factor. So when you see somebody have a massive amount of tokens, you cannot claim that the project is decentralized. because that person can determine whether price goes up single-handedly, whether price goes up or comes down. So in this case, considering the fact that it is evenly distributed, following the key ideas of the creation of Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, and blockchain on its own, I see it as a very unique project that will also revolutionize the crypto industry. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lukami Ifeshola, for that wonderful explanation, of course. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking about the Ryoshi Dogship, a new project on the Solana blockchain. What are your thoughts, ladies and gentlemen, on this particular project? We've heard our speakers talk about Ryoshi Dogship. It's being held by only 5%. Is 3%, of course, is being held by, of course, the founders of the developers of this cryptocurrency at the moment. Do you have any questions? If you have any questions about the Ryoshi Dogship, this is the time to ask your questions. Ask our keynote speakers whatever reservations you may have, whatever inquiries you want to make. Ladies and gentlemen, the floor is open. If you want to ask a question, simply turn on your microphone and your camera, or you raise your hand so that I can signal you to ask your question. All right, let's move on quickly to some broader topics in the blockchain space. Digital Chief,
Yes,
I want to ask you, which other sectors beyond finance are being disrupted by blockchain technology, and how are these sectors sort of being disrupted by blockchain technology?
Okay, basically, almost every economic sector is going to be affected by blockchain revolution. Paramount on this is the real estate sector, where using the Ethereum blockchain, properties are being, or geographical locations are being deployed on blockchain. Now, if this is adopted widely, what it means is that identity of owners of properties can be traced to the blockchain ecosystem. Let me give you an example. If a location is deployed on blockchain, the buyer of such property, his or her identity will be deployed on blockchain, such that if any other person makes attempt to buy that property, the person will see the original owner. So the idea of multiple buyers of a single plot of land will be erased out. And that's where the future of properties is going to. Secondly, in election and voting, blockchain is going to take the center stage to guard against election rigging. Now, as technology advances, we will come to a point where every nation will want to adopt blockchain for their voting, because people all over the world are yearning for transparency in election and voting, especially in this part of the world, Africa, where corruption and rigging and election is a do or die affair. Now, but I want to believe that those kind of corruption will not continue, because technology is the only instrument the society have to fight against injustice in the economic system and politics. So I would suggest that in the course of this conversation, that we'll take out a time to x-ray the relevance of blockchain in politics and in election and voting, because it's going to do the masses a lot of good. Now, let me give you an example. A lot of persons would have been restricted access to accessing loans from banks, but because of decentralization, so many persons go to the blockchain and access funds for their business projects. Traders in Forex, in futures, in the commodity markets, can access funds online, pay to pay, without any middleman interfacing with each of them, and transactions are done and concluded. So if blockchain is deployed on election, what will happen is that the result of the election will be online real time. So as anybody casts votes, everybody that has access to that app that is being used on the blockchain for the voting and election will see the result online real time. So everybody will announce the result at the same time. Everybody will know who won the election and who lost. So the widespread of the result on every of the computers that are involved in the chain of the blockchain will see the result at the same time. So you won't be able to rig, you won't be able to cancel election because the result has been announced on its own using the blockchain. Unlike what we see in the world now, where election rigging has been legalized and corrupt people get into governance through that means. So I want to urge the general masses to propose and adopt blockchain for election and voting. So at least these two, real estate, election and voting, supply chain is another area where commodities and items can be tracked using blockchain for authenticity and genuineness. So what we are saying in a sense is that apart from the financial system of the world, there are other areas that need this, the elimination of, because blockchain is about eliminating middlemen, because middlemen are the real reasons why the cost of goods and services are on the high side because of what charges the building. But with blockchain, businesses, transactions will be person to person. That's what they call P2P, person to person. And in so doing, the bargain will be between you and the other person, not between you and a middleman and another middleman. In most cases, you see a lot of 2, 3, 4, 5 middlemen before the transaction is done. But with blockchain, it's person to person, and transaction is done and concluded on chain.
Well, that was really, really insightful and explanatory. Thank you very much, Didachi, for that explanation. Now,
thank you.
Yeah. Moving over to you, Mr. Ifeshola. You know, we've heard of several potential risks and some fears by members of the public about the potential of blockchain technology generally. Now, I want to ask you again, from your perspective as a thought leader in the industry, are there any potential risks or drawbacks to the widespread adoption of blockchain technology, and what should we be aware of? What should members of the public be aware of? Are there any potential risks associated with the adoption of blockchain technology? Mr. Ifeshola.
Okay, thank you very much. Like every human developed system, it solves a particular problem, then creates another problem. The solution to a particular problem is always the beginning of another problem. But at least this signs of progress when it comes to science and technology. But one thing I would like to say about blockchain is that the advantages are much more than the disadvantages. My colleague has actually said a couple of those advantages, and I would like to, expatiate on that a little bit before I go to the risk involved. So from my own perspective, the blockchain is meant to disrupt not just the financial systems alone. It's even going to disrupt the future of governance as well too. Last week, we talked about DAO, which is Decentralized Autonomous Organization. So blockchain is also, instead of having leaders who are, making decisions about the economy, security, education, and everything that has to do with a nation or a certain group of people, we have smart contracts that enables everybody to have a say, in the sense that when decisions are being made, then everybody comes to a central voting system, and the decision of the majority is what determines what to be done, not that a single person in governance determines what to be done. So that is one of the advantages of DAO, which is one of the features built on the blockchain, decentralized autonomous economy. Then apart from that as well too, relating to what my colleague said about election, when it comes to people who are holding public offices, there are different types of blockchain. There is the public, the private, the hybrid, and some other ones. When it comes to people who are holding public offices, it will be very good if their financial transactions are conducted on a public blockchain for people to see. You cannot hold a public office and want to have a private financial life. But this is the avenues in which they exploit in all these corruption practices. So if their financial transactions are on blockchain, public blockchain for that matter, people, you don't need to declare your asset anymore. People know right from on-chain analysis your assets. People know what you use money for. So you cannot siphon money unnecessarily. You will be cautioned because you know that all eyes are on you. So it will also reduce the possibility or chances of corruption. Then blockchain will also disrupt the entertainment industry as well too. We have what we call NFTs, the non-fungible tokens, which enables people who are into art to market their product. So people into art, into music, comedians, all these things, they can market their product. Then there's something that we call metaverse as well too, which enables the virtual reality. So shows can go on and people can attend even in the metaverse without changing physical location. So blockchain is going to affect the entertainment industry. Then when we talk about Web3, which is not fully adopted right now, upon which crypto is working on, it will bring more benefit to users of internet than just some specific groups of people. So let me say the benefit is going to be spread across rather than, I appreciate the innovations of the like of Mark Zuckerberg who developed Facebook, the YouTube platform. These are innovations, but the users, of course, are benefiting, but not much. With the Web3 features of blockchain, it will also enable the benefit of internet to be evenly spread. Now, coming to the risk which you asked, yes, for now, there are not much strict regulations on the use of blockchain, in the sense that any big and area from any part of the world can come and deploy a project on a blockchain, irrespective of the intention of that person. And a lot of people have actually lost, quite a good amount of money to those scams. And that is why we usually, the best, let me say, the most used statement in the crypto industry is do your own research, DYON. So DYOR, I mean. So people are, because there is no central authority that is screening the establishment of projects on the blockchain, then people are saddled with that responsibility of doing so. Let me give an example. For those who are in Nigeria, for example, and even other countries, you have the central bank of that country. So you cannot just wake up one morning and create a bank of your own that doesn't follow the regulations of the central bank. And of course, the central regulations of the central bank also ensure that those banks are not going to liquidate anytime. And even if they liquidate, customers' funds are safe. That is the benefit of regulation. In the crypto industry, there's no such strict regulation right now. That is why people can create all these pump and dump tokens that are not intended to stand the test of time, tokens that the only purpose is just to make profit for the developer and a few other smart people who are able to get in at the right time and get out at the wrong time. So there are scam tokens like recently, there are a lot of tokens, let me say celebrity tokens, that are being developed in the market. So these celebrity tokens will be developed within a space of 3 hours. They are going to amass millions of dollars of money, and then that token ceases to exist. And even sometimes it is not with a knowledge or awareness of those particular celebrities. Sometimes you will see some people will hack the social media of, it happened with 50 Cent earlier this year. His social media account was hacked, and it was used to promote a token in which people bought into, and then the scammer, made away with the money. So those are some of the risks associated with blockchain, in the sense that regulation is not yet in place. So, but over time, I believe, reformations and transformations will be taking place, and all these scam tendencies and access will be properly checked. So I'm still not recommending that
Yeah.
it will be centralized, but at the same time, as it is decentralized, it should be a little bit of regulation should be
So
in place.
you mentioned regulation. Sorry to cut you short. In what ways do you suggest that the industry be regulated without necessarily stifling the different blockchain exchanges, sort of? So how do you propose that governments and regulatory bodies should regulate the industry?
Okay. For about 2 or 3 years, there was this lawsuit that was going on between the Security and Exchange Commission of the United States against XRP. Ruling XRP, the SEC were trying to rule XRP as a security rather than a token. All this, in as much as SEC lost the case, but these are putting a kind of a caution on other project developers too, so that when they're creating tokens, they will not create tokens with the intention of selling shares. When you are registering a company, for example, that company should only function within the limits of its registration procedure. So a crypto project should not serve the same function like company shares as well too. So, all these checks and balances has to come in place once in a while, so that things will still maintain their shape the way it is, so as to avoid to reduce the risk. It cannot be totally eliminated anyway. Like I said, any human created system must come along with its risk. It can never be perfect, but those risks can be reduced too. So that's what I'm saying.
All right. Thank you very much for all that explanation. Indeed, you broke it down. The need to regulate the industry to avoid some of these scams. We've seen celebrity tokens. We see these tokens come live. We hear that a celebrity has launched a token. People key into it, people buy it, and the next day, this token ceases to exist. We've heard, I don't need to mention names here, but we've seen this happen over and over again in the last few months on our social media spaces. Indeed, it is important that the industry be regulated to avoid issues like this. Thank you very much, Mr. Feshola, for bringing attention to this, of course. Now, moving back to you again, Digital Chief. How important is collaboration between different blockchain projects? I mean, there are several blockchain projects out there. Do you think it is important for these different projects to collaborate for the growth of the decentralized ecosystem?
If I get your
Digital
question
Chief.
very well,
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, please go on.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
If I get your question very well, you are talking about collaboration.
Yes.
Now, collaboration could come in diverse ways. But first of all, we need to X-ray the challenges with decentralization before we talk about collaboration, because in the early days, there is what we call interoperability of blockchain, which brought about the bridging of different blockchains and transactions being made possible between one chain to the other. So when you talk about collaboration, I want to get exactly what you mean. Is it the blockchains coming together as one ecosystem, or being able to have transactions concluded from one chain to the other without hassles? We need to define the real collaboration we are talking about before we can know what to do.
So by collaboration, I mean the different blockchain exchanges, sort of creating a good atmosphere for transaction within themselves. Okay. Just to make the whole, to make decentralized finance to work better. I mean, there are some crypto exchanges that cannot transfer or make transactions between themselves. How important is it for these different blockchain projects to collaborate to make the industry better?
Yeah, okay, good. As the technology advances, there has been a lot of collaboration in this respect, where in the exchanges, you could see a project like Ethereum, for instance, having been listed on another chain, where you can exchange like Shiba Inu. Shiba Inu was listed first on Ethereum blockchain, but later you could use Binance Smart Chain to buy it in the Binance ecosystem. So, but in the early days, these transactions were not possible. But as blockchain advanced, there were bridges where tokens can be bridged with from one exchange, one decentralized exchange to another. Now, talking about decentralized exchanges, because in centralized exchanges, once a token is listed in that exchange, it can be transferred from one exchange to the other. I've not had a case where I want to transfer from maybe Binance Exchange to KuCoin or any other exchange. Where we have challenge was in decentralized exchanges, but there has been bridges, blockchains, where a coin can be bridged with another ecosystem, with another block to decentralized exchange, and you can also make transactions possible there. For instance, you could buy a token that is built on Binance Smart Chain. You can buy it on Uniswap or PancakeSwap. PancakeSwap is primarily on an exchange that is compatible with Binance Smart Chain, while Uniswap is an exchange that is compatible with Ethereum blockchain. But interoperability has made it so possible that coins that are built on Ethereum blockchain can be bought on PancakeSwap using BSC as a token. So there has been quite a number of collaborations in the ecosystem that is making transactions very easy and convenient for so many persons that understand. But then that is where education comes in. Most blockchain came from the passive business model because it is not recognized in ab initio by the government. Most times anything the government says yes to, the masses adopt it. That's why blockchain had problem. Now, people didn't get proper education on blockchain and cryptocurrency before diving into the industry. They were hyped up. I wanted to make a comment on what my colleague said about celebrity tokens. Most celebrity tokens are not 100% decentralized. They are not renounced. The distribution is not even. That's why when they dump, the token goes bizarre. Now, but people get attracted to such tokens because of the name, the celebrity that bears, all for them to wake up and they lose their money. Now, but we are doing this program to enlighten the public. So before you engage in any business at all, be it not just blockchain ecosystem, be it real estate, After all, people get to be educated for 6, 7 years before they become a medical doctor or a lawyer or an engineer. So blockchain is an industry, and it requires education, a lot of education for you to know what is going on, to be able to partake of the transactions and get to make the kind of money you. But then what you see is somebody will come and tell you, I bought this coin, I bought it $100 and I made $1 million, I made $100,000. And the next minute, the person is asking, how do I get involved? Without getting the knowledge that is required. I call it relevant knowledge. You need relevant knowledge before you engage in any business you want to do. But people don't do that. That's why we have problem. They just want to buy coin, make money, cash out, what they call in Igbo language. So, but we recommend that people listen to this program every Wednesday. Also get to acquire relevant knowledge about the ecosystem of blockchain before they engage. It's very necessary.
Yeah, I can hear you. Are you still speaking?
Yeah, I'm actually done.
All right. Thank you very much for bringing attention to this, of course. To you again, Mr. Digital Chief. What do you think the future holds for blockchain adoption on a global scale?
What I think
the future holds for blockchain adoption on a global scale.
Okay. I think if I recall, in the first conversation we had in this series, I said something like exchanges were done using trade by barter as a model in the past. Now, the advent, because of the challenges of trade by barter, a new way of exchanges emerged as the world advanced, where fiat currencies was made relevant in the exchange systems. But because of borderless transactions and advancement in technology, where ease of transactions is very important for people that are transacting businesses, and privacy of people against the watchdogs who kind of victimize people. Let me give you an example. When a certain amount of money is lodged into your account, even though it's legitimate, you get the bottlenecks of the bank before you transact your business. They give you conditions. You don't have to spend so amount in a day, even with the plastic money, which is ATM cards. Before you withdraw a certain amount of volume of cash, it has to be you will be restricted. You are going to withdraw only 10,000 or 20,000 naira in the case of Nigeria, as a case study. Now with blockchain, those things are eliminated. You spend your money, carry your cash with your digital devices and all that. So with the convenience the world is yearning for, decentralization is the key word. Everybody wants convenience and ease of doing transactions globally, borderless transactions. And technology is advancing, robotics and artificial intelligence is taking over the ecosystems. You will agree with me that blockchain adoption will be massive all over the world. Yes, it might take time, but the more people understand how it works, the more adoption we will see. The truth is that even the government system know that technology makes life easier and better. But because of decentralization, which means that the control of the ecosystem is not resident in the government of nations, but in the public. That's why the government is finding it difficult to give a nod to the adoption of blockchain. So, but once they are convinced and they can find a way to regulate the industry, I want to believe that blockchain will become mainstream financial system of the world.
All right, thank you very much, Digital Chief. Indeed, today's program has really been impactful. I mean, we've touched several great areas that we didn't touch in the past, and I'm sure our viewers are well informed, are well educated after watching this program today. Just before we wrap up, Mr. Ifeshola, any final words, on Ryoshi Dogship, the blockchain industry generally, just before we leave for today.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much. I would actually recommend, based on what I have done, although I'm not a financial advisor, so this is not a financial advisor. So I would recommend that people invest into it. But I also like to preach proper risk management as well too, so that you take your risk what you can afford to lose on any investment, even outside the cryptocurrency industry. So I'm imploring people to invest. Then one other thing, very important thing I'm imploring people to do is create time for education. Create time for education. You have to follow trends, how what will be relevant tomorrow, and how you can also fit in and also stay relevant to the society as well too. There was a time when internet was new, and people were trying to adapt into the use of internet. Now internet has proceeded to Web3, and through the use of blockchain as well too. So there is a lot to learn on this blockchain technology. And like I usually tell the people I mentor, what I tell them is what determines how much you make from this industry is how much knowledge you have acquired over time. That is very, very important. So if you are making like $10 a month, that shows the knowledge you have is only worth $10. But if you're making much more, that is it. And if you are making losses, that also means that you do not have enough knowledge in this space. But with the right knowledge is the right tool, you are going to make a profit from this space. So first thing, put the money aside, put the knowledge in front. There's no way you will acquire knowledge and know about something, and that knowledge will not transform into immense profits for you. So the main method that will pass across is that people should learn, and learn.
Well said, Mr. Feshola. Thank you very much for those very fine last words. Knowledge, of course, is important whenever you're going into a new industry. Like you said, the amount of knowledge you have is what will generally determine the amount of money you're going to make in the industry. Thank you very much, Mr. Feshola, for those very fine words. Now, moving to you now, Digital Chief. You run an academy. You are an authority in the industry. You've been following the space for a very long time. Digital Chief, you have an academy. I mean, what do you do in your academy? Can you quickly introduce your academy to us, and so that our viewers will know how to reach out to you?
Okay. We operate from Abuja, Dama Academy. Dama Academy is at EFAB Mall in Gariki, Abuja. What we do is comprehensive education on blockchain and cryptocurrency, to the point that you can beat your chest when you get into cryptocurrency business as a person. And like we have always said, knowledge is important in every business, not just the cryptocurrency business. But because the cryptocurrency business is online, people are skeptical because you don't know who is behind the scene. And that's why adequate and relevant knowledge is important. So our academy is called Dama Academy at Block D95, 3rd floor, EFAB Mall, Area 11, Gariki, Abuja. That's where we operate from.
All right. Thank you very much, Digital Chief. For those who want to gain more knowledge on the cryptocurrency industry, and blockchain generally, you can always reach out to Digital Chief to guide you through. And of course, when you have the time, visit the academy he just mentioned. Indeed, today's conversation has really been impactful. It's been fascinating hearing from you two gentlemen speak to us on blockchain technology. Thank you, especially to Mr. Ifeshola Olukami and Digital Chief. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us.
Thank you very much. We look forward to
as we've heard, blockchain projects are changing the face of not just finance, but also industries like healthcare, supply chain, and even governance, like I said. The impact of these projects will continue to shape the future of global economies. Blockchain technology will continue to be adopted. It is only right that you key in as an individual on time. And of course, before you make any investments in the cryptocurrency space, always remember to do your due diligence, do your research, especially when you want to invest. It is very important. As we always say, stay informed and stay ahead. Until next time, that's a wrap on today's edition of the program. My name is Emmanuel. See you next week.